Hello, hello, hello. Anybody home? Okay, so I have it on my phone so I can see if anybody pops in. But for now, we're just gonna do a little bit of talking and some give you guys some information. So if you're coming back later and you take a look at it, then you can you can pick up on that information. So if you do pop in, please leave a comment. Tell me who you are, where you are. If this is your first time here. And I look forward to getting to know you and hopefully giving you some information that can help you out and make your bookkeeping easier and your taxes simple to file, but very minimal as far as if you have to pay anything. Hopefully you don't even have to pay anything. So that being said, I see that the couple people, Totally Thrifty, hey, welcome. Glad you're here. So I see that we've got a few people that have popped in, and please tell us who you are. Leave a comment in the chat. And hi, Kim. Glad to have you. If this is your first time, if you need a little bit of information about me, if you are in the reseller group with Tech and Sports and Chris Lynn from Daily Refinement, let me know that. And, where are you from and what's your current situation? So if you are familiar with me and you have my workbook and you're here so that you can work on that and get your accounting done for the month, then great. If you need to, just mute. You can pop in and ask questions. Want you to get that done first and foremost. That's what this time here is really about. Totally Thrifty says, working on the advice you gave me last time regarding how to backtrack on documenting mileage. Great advice. Awesome. So happy that that's helping you. Okay, so Totally Thrifty says, I need to backtrack on all of my accounting for the year. So that being said, the easiest way to do that is to pile up all your receipts by category. If you're using my workbook, then great. Then you have all the categories. If not, then you can Google Schedule C and look at the categories that are on there. Doesn't really matter what kind of business entity you have or where you're located. Pretty much everybody, and when I mean located, I mean around the world, is going to have the same type of expenses, right? So pile up your receipts by category, and then from there you're going to just go through and total them. Put your little sticky note or something on the top with the total, and then you can enter that into your spreadsheet. What is the best workbook to start with? Well, obviously, I'm going to recommend mine. I feel like it is, I don't have several levels. I have the reseller one. And the only difference with the reseller one and the general one is that it has the cost of goods calculator in it. Otherwise, they're both the same. So, I would just recommend that you get the reseller. It's currently 6.3. Get that one. You'll have it for life. As long as I'm alive and able to update it, I will update it every year. You only buy it one time. So anyway, the 6.3, what I do is I will update it each year, and then anybody that doesn't already have it, and needs it, like say in January, you need it for last year, then it'll be available to purchase for last year, but you won't get the updates on that one, right? If you purchase it now, you'll have it for this year, and you will get the updates going forward. Okay, so again, Totally Thrifty is saying, so can I use the general one for my home improvement business? Once you buy it, it's yours, right? If you have two businesses and you can't combine them, or you don't want to combine them and do one business, set of business books and taxes for everything, then just get the reseller one and make a copy of it for yourself and use one for the one business and one for the other. But it does accept up to 6 streams of revenue. And unless you're doing something like real estate, then there's really no reason that you can't combine it. Because if you think about it, like your home office, for example, you're going to use your home office for all of your businesses. You're going to use your computer for all of your businesses. You're going to, you're not going to go buy a pack of paper for one and then go buy a pack of paper for the other. So there's no reason why you can't combine them. Kim says, I'm in the reseller group and the second time that she's been here. Well, yay. I'm glad you came back. All right. So let's see. Oh, I said this to the group. So if you're in the group, then you've heard that you got to hear this last week, but I want everyone to be preparing for the end of the year. You need to get all of your stuff up to date into your whatever you're using for your bookkeeping. And then once you have that done, then you're going to need to be looking at what your net is. So in the group next week for the accounting call, I'm going to be going over what you need to like an overview of what your tax burden may be for the when it comes tax time. Sorry. So anyway, I'm going to be looking at that and trying to get everybody a way to. We're going to walk through the Schedule C, and we're going to walk through a 1040 at a very high level and just kind of say, okay, here is the here is your net, and this from the business and how it moves over to the 1040, and then where it what your tax burden will look like at that time based on, you're going to have to kind of plug in your numbers. So if you're ready, then you'll be able to plug in your numbers when we go through it next week. Totally Thrifty asks, how do you become part of the reseller group that I'm talking about? So give me just a second and let me see if I can pull that information up. for you. Membership. All right, so I'm going to post the link in the chat. And as far as my affiliation, I am a member of the group. I pay my dues the same as everybody else. I just do 2 accounting calls a month within the group to help everybody in the group. So you'd not only get me here, Facebook chat, whatever, but you'd also get me for 2 calls in the group. And the last few have been going upwards of 3 hours. So it starts at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And my hard cutoff is 4 o'clock Eastern time because we have another call that starts at 4. So I've been going to almost either right up to 4 o'clock or almost up to 4 o'clock for the accounting calls. And once you join, if you join for the $34.99 a month, then you actually get access to all of the many thousands of hours worth of calls, and I am not exaggerating in the least. So I wonder, am I able to, can you tag people in YouTube? I don't know. Gonna try. I tried it. We'll see what happens. Maybe Chris can pop in if he's not busy. Let's see if he's busy. So I sent him a message. Kimmery says, definitely worth every penny. I'm going to tell you what, when I joined over a year ago, let's see, it's probably been, well, we're coming up getting pretty close to 2 years. It'll be 2 years this spring. Well, before spring gets here, but so Chris isn't feeling well. He's not going to be able to pop in. However, within the first week, I think I learned a little piece of the puzzle from Tech and Sports that literally paid for my entire year. With the amount of time it saved me. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to accounting. So we want you prepared for the end of the year because we don't want you to have to pay penalties or interest on anything that you might owe come tax time. So if you have not paid anything in and there's the possibility that you might owe something, then we want to make sure that we get your figure out where you are so that you can make a payment before the end of the year. So long as you make a payment before the end of the year, then you won't end up having to pay any penalties and interest on at least that amount of money. And I can get you pretty close with, if you have everything entered, then I can get you pretty close. I'm considering doing this live maybe on the 2 weeks that I don't do the accounting calls in the group. So I do the accounting calls on Thursdays, on the first and third Thursday at 1 Eastern in the group. So I'm thinking that I might do a live here on the 2nd and 4th no holiday, if so long as there's no holidays. And okay. And so that way I can help anybody that even if they are in the group, sometimes people are really wanting some extra help in between. So it would be easier for me to come on here and answer your questions than it is if to answer everybody's questions individually that I get during the week. And if anybody wants to pop on, the link is in the chat. I mean, in the description of the on YouTube, and I'm happy to have you come on, so I don't have to sit here and look at myself. So, does anybody have a YouTube? If you have a YouTube channel, please drop it in the chat. I'd love for everybody to support everyone. Follow, subscribe, watch each other's videos. So, do we have any questions today? I know that Totally Thrifty is working on back accounting, back mileage, and getting through that. Kimmery should be up to date. I don't know who else we have in here. We had a few more people. But if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer your questions. And if not, then just get that accounting knocked out. And I will be here if you have any questions. If you need any assistance with the workbook, now is a good time to ask. That's the one thing that I don't like to talk too much about when we're in the group. So this is a perfect time to ask any questions about the bookkeeping, about the workbook for the bookkeeping. It's Totally Thrifty asks, anything that I recommend that we should be focusing on this year that is different than last year? Okay, so one thing that is different than last year, if you would be mileage. So due to everything that happened after COVID and people coming back to work and all the stuff, right? The IRS increased the rate for mileage at the end of June. So from the 1st of the year through the end of June, the mileage rate was 0.585. And then from July 1st to the end of December, the mileage rate is 0.625 per mile. So that would be one thing that is different this year than has ever been. This is the first time I've seen it done this way. So you have to be sure that you get your mileage in by date so that you have the first half of the year and the second half of the year to calculate properly. And Totally Thrifty says, I don't keep a per item cost. Will that work for my workbook? I keep an average. Absolutely. Because you don't need to keep a per item cost. In fact, I don't recommend it. I do use an average, but I use it just to keep up with how my store is running. Let me just show you. Let me show you. So All right, so here's my workbook, and it does have an average cost of goods calculator in here. So every time you go to the store, you can put the number of items purchased and how much you paid for it. So we'll say we bought 200 items at $200, and it'll give you a running cost of what your average is here in this green box. You do have to also, I mean, you don't have to enter all the rest of this stuff or the date or whatever, but if you want to use this, you do need to have your total items purchased and the cost. And it just gives you an average per purchase and then an average across the all of your expenses. I mean, all of your purchases. Then the next then how I use it. So how I use it is in my tracking. I have my average cost of goods for each month. It's also available to do by the week, but I tend to use it. I don't tend to use it for the week anymore. I just do mine per month. So you put in your average cost per the month, how many you listed, how many sold, what your sales were, what the net is for eBay, any outside shipping. And then based on that information, all the rest of this stuff gets calculated. And what this does is, because you shouldn't make too many changes to your store at one time, you should make them slowly and give eBay time to acclimate to whatever changes you've made. So whether it be promotions or sales, obviously you're gonna, like, if you run a sale for a month, you're gonna have to renew it. But so long as you keep doing pretty much the same thing month after month, then eBay gets acclimated to how you want to run your store, your business. But this helps you to gauge how you're doing and the changes that you make, how they stack up over time and compared to, the month before, the month after, and looking at the year overall, because everything is totaled over here to the left also. For mileage, this is the mileage sheet. So Totally Thrifty asked about the mileage calculation in the workbook. So it's set up to have up to 4 different vehicles, because if you have multiple vehicles, you have to keep mileage separate for each one. And so you would enter your miles, and then you would enter what places that you went to. And again, using your receipts as a guide, you can figure out what your round trip miles are and put in all the places that you went to on any given day. And the way that it's set up is it has every day of the year in here, including the day of the week, to help you gauge where you are. And then I split it up at the end of the first half of the year so that it shows the split for the mileage, for the difference in the mileage. So Totally Thrifty says, I post on various platforms, Mercari, Poshmark, etc. Is that also on your worksheet? So the fact that you have different platforms is fine. This is set up for up to currently six sources of revenue. So if you are doing eBay and Mercari and Poshmark and Depop and ThreadUp, I don't know, you can do all of these different ones. If you need more than 6, just reach out to me and I will add more in. The eBay number tracking is not set up for the other platforms. It's not to say that you couldn't use it for the other platforms. It's just not set up for them yet. I am working on setting one up for Poshmark and whatnot. At this time, I'm not doing any of the other ones, but I am getting ready to have the same sort of thing for Poshmark and whatnot, because I am on there for the lives, so I'll be able to, better help with people that are on Poshmark and whatnot, as well as eBay. But anyway, it works for all of the platforms and any business. The only thing is just the eBay number tracking, which is just for your knowledge only. It is not part of your bookkeeping. It's just something that I put in there to help eBay sellers gauge what it is that they're doing. Also on here is a home office expense calculator. And so let me just talk about that for just a second, because we don't know how you are going to do on your taxes. There's two different ways that you can do your home office deduction. One way is through the short form, and one way is through the long form. And the short form just basically uses the square footage of your workspace within your home. So that means you can take the percentage that you are allotted for the home office deduction and you get the deduction for your utilities, but you may not get, depending on where you fall, you may not actually get the home office deduction, because you may not have, if you don't have a positive amount on your Schedule C, then you're not eligible for a home office deduction. So that being said, I recommend that you don't take your utilities during the year into your expenses. You wait and see how it ends up being on your taxes. And this will help you do that, because you can put in the square footage of your home. If you use your garage, any part of your garage, you have to add that square footage. Then again, the total square foot of business space used in your home. If you use anything in your garage, again, add that. And it gives you the percentage. And then you put in your utilities across the board, and it will tell you what your deductible limit is for each one. If you use the long form for home office deduction, you actually put in all of these numbers into the long form. So that's why I don't want you to have it in your expenses already, just in case you end up using the long form, because we don't want you to double dip and get in trouble for double dipping. All right. So that's just a quick overview of the workbook. And I've answered the questions that are in the chat. Anything else that I can help with? I see there's a couple more people. Tell me who's here. Where are you from? Have you stopped in before? Thank you for coming. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And that's what I'm here. I'm here to help as much as I can. So one of the things that I'm going to be doing in the group that I did last year, and I'll do, I did this year and I will do this coming spring, is I do a walkthrough on taxes so that you can do them yourself. Now, if you choose to turn that in yourself, you'll be able to. And if not, at least you will have a pretty good idea of whether or not the person that's doing your taxes is doing them right. Oh, yay! FlipCon was such a blast. I'm terrible with names, though. I will remember a face. I'm terrible with names. But I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that we were able to meet at FlipCon. And I'm looking forward to going to another one, whether it's FlipCon or something else. I can't wait to go to another one. It was so much fun. All righty. So, is your bookkeeping done? Because if you got here at the top of the hour, it only takes about 15 minutes if you're using my workbook. But I figured 30 minutes tops. Oh, thank you. And you're welcome. And catch me on catch me, here in the comments, or catch me on Facebook Messenger. I'm more than happy to help. I'll answer simple questions. If we need to get into detail, then we'll do a consult. But I will answer short, simple questions, or shoot me an email, and I will do my best to answer. I prefer to answer as many questions as possible in a group setting, whether it be in the group in Facebook or on one of the lives, because then everyone gets the answer, right? Because if you have the question, then it's probably somebody else has the question too. And so maybe they're too scared to ask. So talking about cost of goods, while I'm waiting to see if anybody has any more questions, I went through a whole bunch of jewelry this morning, sorting it out and counting pieces, and so that I can kind of get an idea of what my average cost was on it. And while it was fun to go through, it's very time consuming. What did it come out? What, my cost? Actually, I have to find my receipt. Let's see. Let me pull this, go in here. All my links are in there, including Facebook. So I have to find my receipt for the last purchase I made from the auction. I must have it in in like a bag or something. Because I apparently deleted it from my email. But anyway, I have to find that. But I did count out 228 pieces of jewelry. And I didn't spend that much on the jewelry. Kim says, do you find that most resellers are sole proprietors instead of having an LLC? So everybody should be starting out having, with, just as a sole prop, and don't let anyone push you into having an LLC. You don't need to have an LLC before you're at somewhere between $30,000 and $60,000 net profit. At least not for being a reseller, right? There are definitely things where you want to limit your liability, different businesses where you want to limit your liability, but I don't feel like reselling is one of those. Then once you hit the LLC, then depending on your financial situation, you will find that there will be a time, if you continue to grow your business, to switch from an LLC to an LLC S Corp. But it really, it very much depends on your entire financial situation and whether it's beneficial to you or not. Because while there are benefits to having an S Corp, there are also additional costs involved in having an S Corp. And some people just don't grow their business to a point that would warrant needing that. So it's best that you talk with a knowledgeable accountant, tax accountant, and or CPA. It doesn't have to be a CPA. And have all of your information there so that you and the person that you're talking to can make an informed decision based on your situation. There isn't a one size fits all. Need to figure out how to move my camera so that I'm looking at you guys. Even when I'm looking at the chat. So much easier when people join me. So Totally Thrifty, I put my link in the chat. I will post it up on the screen too. It's also in the description below the video, and all of my links are in there. All the different ways to find me. Ooh. Looks like I may be having some internet difficulties. Okay, well, I don't want this to be a bad connection, and it is definitely showing that I am having some unstable or stability issues with my internet. So currently it says it's okay. Oh, thank you. Well, hi, Figgy Flips. Thank you for coming in and letting me know. So do we have any more questions that I can answer? If not, again, my link is in the chat, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions about the workbook. I'm happy to talk with you about it. If you just want to talk accounting, I'm good with that too. And I look forward to getting to know you. So reach out on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, but I don't get on there very much. But maybe, maybe you guys can pull me over. So if there aren't any more questions, then I will close this one down for the day. I hope everybody that popped on got their bookkeeping done for the month. And if you want to join the group, that would be great. I will see you next week in the accounting call. If not, I will do my best to do an end of the year. An end of the year call live right here on the 22nd. Let's see. Yeah, on the 22nd. That way, anybody that needs to get some information will have some time to go through it and actually act on it before the end of the year. All right. Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate you. Thank you for the questions. And I look forward to seeing you again next time. So 22nd, I'll come back on the 22nd and we will make sure that everybody is ready for the end of the year. All right. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.